Testing, testing. All right, can you hear me now? Yeah. What about this one, Shane? Oh, that one's better. Set up. How about that? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2. Are they coming in fairly? One microphone, and this is the other microphone.
Get up, get up! That's ours! Go! Deal with it! Short, stay over it! Always up! Yeah, isolate! Release! Where's the release? Okay, let's get Cass for Ricky Peterson first. Let's get Chewy for field. Just get a check on field from Jono, please. Steve Johnston, we're going to check on field. No, from Steve Johnston, we need to check on field, please. Jono, let us know quick on him. Just hold on. Chewy. Chappie also. Yes. When Kaz goes on, Mugger goes in the second row, Luke's coming forward. Luke's in the second row at the moment. Jono, how is he? Jono, how is he? Let's give him a couple of minutes and see if we can get rid of it.
Start off again. 0-0. Let's go. Steps in the bag and shoot it. I like your imagine. Yeah, just do this. You have to kick. You have to kick. You know the smallest
Just keep an eye on it. There's 1 or 2 minutes. You want to go now and look? Yeah, Kaz will look now. Ref, change, please. Look! Look off. Plugger in the row. He's off. He's off. He's traffic.
You put it down here. What? Look, you put it down. No, I put it down way over there. You knocked it on there. I was like, move your hand. But you dropped it and then then you got like, oh my god. I'm not even near it. Yes. Good. Tom! I'm yours. No, you're right. Oh, that was fun. Winners kick.
After this kick. Let him kick. About 1 or 2 minutes.
Yes, second there.
it up. Pete, this is when we've got to lift, mate. Where it knows it's in front for 25 minutes. We've got to lift.
Yes, yes, yes.
Quiet word.
Good, Daniel.
Roy wouldn't pay ya.
Yes, yes.
That would be so nice. Can please, yeah. Can we make that change, please? We'll go from there.
Leo!
Got to work through the issues, to be honest.
Pardon? Get set, space up! Fine. Go white. Go white. Set. Wait. Rock on.
Two tries. Let's go, boys.
Hot ball. Try to push up. Try to push up. Joking! You are kidding me! Way to kill a game! Way to kill a game! What a fucking show! That's a fucking
breaks, please. Liam will have to stay. Boys come down as a
It
group.
doesn't matter if he goes. That's his fault. I don't think he has a goal.
Boys come down as a group, please, all together. Gibbo. Everyone together.
What are these guys?
You in town next weekend? You in town next weekend?
You hungry? Boys come in, please. All in, please.
Good afternoon and welcome to Viking Park for this game between Queanbeyan and the Tuggeranong Vikings. Here we go, kick off. And Queanbeyan out of bounds on their first kick of the day. Tuggeranong today have a few changes from the book that you can pick up at the canteen. Sione Tula is at number 1 in the front row. Michael Henry and Phil Kitte might make up the other two. Gareth Clouston is in the second row alongside Michael Oakman Hunt as the referee awards Tuggeranong a get out of jail free pass. They will now have a chance to find touch in their attacking half. Rodney Iona, the Vikings man, to kick the ball out. He's coming off a tough week. The Vikings coming off a tough week. Last weekend they were defeated by the Uni North's Owls. Only their second loss for the year. It was a tight game, 21-20. Rodney Iona will be looking for a better game today. He missed 4 from 4 conversions and was probably the difference as Tuggeranong Vikings restart through a Michael Henry line-out. They find themselves just over the 50-metre line as they go wide out right. Jerome Neomato kicked it, put it on the boot. He's on the chase and he's put it down. Tuggeranong in straight away. Less than 2 minutes into the game. With me is Brendan Allardyce. Thank you for joining me, Brendan.
No, you're welcome, Kieran. That's a great start for the Vikings.
Well, a ripper. It was a slight difference from the backline's play last week. They looked a little bit out of sorts, and I was talking to Coach Brad Harris before the game. He was hoping that it was a bit of a wake-up call for them, and, well, that was clean. That
was indeed. Yeah, look, something that's plagued them a little bit this year, I think, is getting off to slow starts. So I think Brad will be really pleased with getting off to a flyer there. Points on the board already.
And Rodney Iona with an early chance to redeem himself from 4 from 4 misses last week. A tough kick, but no wind today. It's a beautiful, sunny winter's day here after an extremely cold start. People still with beanies on, even in the sun. And it is Sponsors Day here at Viking Park. We have, over with the Red Army, a number of our sponsors enjoying some food and beverages. Right, Rodney Iona lines this one up. Chance to make it 7-0. Good looking kick. And it has gone in. It looked like he pushed it left, but it just held its line. Brendan obviously is coach of reserve grade and probably need to take a few deep breaths after your game today.
Kieran, yes, I do. Yeah, look, not happy with the result. Certainly the effort from the guys was great, but our execution let us down. So with only a few weeks to go before finals, we'll just have to double our efforts and work hard. Credit to Queanbeyan, though. They thoroughly deserved it.
The other results from earlier today, 45-5. Colts won their game over Queanbeyan Whites. Seconds obviously going down. Thirds won their game. And fours earlier, well, they had a forfeit, so they didn't even get to have a run. So Tuggeranong find themselves right on the 50-metre line, with Queanbeyan will have the line out now. An opportunity for them to find some field position and have their first attacking shot of the day. And a loose ball down from Queanbeyan there. Vikings, good pressure. Their line nice and neat up and not letting them move very much at all as Queanbeyan pass it out wide down the centre of the ground, and the ball is sent to Ernest Sulvai, who picks it up on the 22, passes it to Jake Knight. Jake Knight has some space. He has some space, and he put it on the boot as well. Bit of a Jerome Neomata copycat on the left wing. And the referee rules that one went out.
I think he may have awarded Vikings a penalty, Kieran, for a slightly late tackle on Jake after he kicked the ball through.
My apologies, missed that one. So they will get another opportunity as referee Brett Bowden pulls the Queanbeyan players in for a quick chat, obviously wanting to stamp down on late tackles early.
Yeah, I don't think there was a lot in that one, so a warning from referee Bowden is probably fair there, and certainly a penalty to Vikings.
Four clubs located in Atlantic Chisholm, Town Centre, and right here in Arendelle. The Vikings is the major partner of Vikings Rugby.
Kieran, I anticipate Vikings here will try and drive this line out. It's been a play that served them well all year. So they've kicked into the corner, sort of within 10 metres of the try line. And you notice Rowan Perry's in at half-back there. He'll look to become the ripper of the line out and drive the maul for the try.
As Michael Henry sends it in, Gareth Clouston was the man up. And they drive through. And Blake Henman sends it wide, finds Jake Rakic, who passes on to Rodney Iona, hits the line, and he's at the bottom of that ruck.
And not releasing the ball there from Frankie Fainafo, so Queanbeyan were very hard on the ball, got there first and deserved that penalty.
And Queanbeyan with a chance to find some space. As I was mentioning earlier, there are a few changes today. Senyo Telefoa is off from the second row. Michael Oakman-Hunt steps in there. Dean Oakman-Hunt moves into where Michael was earlier on at number 6. Also today we welcome Frankie Fanifo from France, his first game starting for first grade this year. Andrew Robinson, the one who missing out in the centres. Fanifo has the ball now, steps one, brushes off another and goes down on the third. Michael Henry has the ball, he punches up to the Queanbeyan line. Henman out wide now, finds Clouston, who doesn't make any ground. Vikings fighting to get the ball out there. Iona has it. Sione Tuula. They've lost about a metre there. It's Tuggeranong struggling to find some space with their backline, but they get a penalty and will have another opportunity to find touch.
Yeah, that was good play from Queanbeyan, Kieran. They had Vikings on the back foot there. As I mentioned earlier, they're the team that attacked the breakdown and very hard on the ball. So unfortunately, one in from the side there. So Vikings get the relieving penalty. But they certainly had Vikings, as you mentioned, not making really any ground.
As Rodney Iona gains, well, nearly 25 metres there, and a good chance for Tuggeranong to go in for their second try of the day. Queanbeyan have a couple of changes as well. Chris Baraboa is out with a calf injury sustained in last weekend's clash. Niori Nadruku, the son of the Raiders legend Noah, comes into the front row for Queanbeyan. As Tuggeranong set their line out and drop into a bit of a maul, but it's circling around a bit. Queanbeyan seem to have a bit of an advantage here. Tuggeranong not very neat. And they're driving. They find some space, though, so they set themselves again for the back line to make a run. Rodney Iona, he's shut down pretty quick, but brushes off two. Hit Queanbeyan's back line nice and hard. Blake Henman trying to look for the ball there, can't find it. Referee Bowden not happy with Queanbeyan's conduct at the ruck.
Yeah, Brett Bowden, he played a long advantage there, Kieran. So I think from the previous rucks, good run from Rodney Iona and good support to at least keep possession, but it looks like they've got the penalty for the one before.
In terms of key matchups today, Brendan, who are we looking at from Tuggeranong's backline? As we were saying before, Brad Harris wasn't too happy with how they put things together last week. Would they be looking to anyone in particular?
Yeah, Kieran, look, I think the inclusion you mentioned before, Francis Fainafo, Frankie, obviously he's a long-standing Vikings player who's played a lot of Super Rugby with the Brumbies and then professional rugby in France. He's also represented Australia A, so absolute quality player, and him in the number 13 jersey, I think they're going to look to break the line and be more penetrative with his running.
They've got one man out here if they can get it out nice and quick, but they don't. They keep it nice and tight from the line out. No Tim Cree today. Big news for him as Tuggeranong take it left through Frankie Fanifo. Blake Henman finds Jerome Niamata. Niamata takes it to the line, but not gaining much ground again. Queanbeyan, good defence as Rowan Perry hits one up.
Yeah, the Queanbeyan line speed's just incredible. Vikings really finding it hard to make too many metres with Queanbeyan just getting off the line.
And a lost ball there, says the referee. So Queanbeyan will have the loose head, and Tuggeranong will set up for some defence in their attacking 50.
This is something I'm looking forward to today, Kieran, is the scrum battle. So very experienced front row from Vikings up against a quality front row from Queanbeyan as well. And both packs, very big and strong. So it'd be interesting to see who can get some ascendancy in the scrum.
The Oakman Hunts a late change later in the week. They're pretty versatile. They won't have too much trouble with Michael stepping into second row.
No, absolutely. Yeah, Michael actually got an injury last week that we thought might have been quite serious and kept him out for a while. But it was after scans and x-rays, and his recovery during the week was excellent. So he took his place today. And he's accomplished in the second row with Jared Butler being back.
And Jared Butler stepping into number 8. As I was mentioning before, Tim Cree is not playing today because he has a position in the UK. He'll soon become a full-time rugby player. And as I was asking him about it earlier today, he had a big smile on his face. Big news for him.
Yeah, look, it's great for Tim. He's been an outstanding player for Tuggeranong Vikings for 4 or 5 years, and he's won a lot of awards with the Brumby program in terms of representing the Brumby runners, captaining the Brumby runners, winning leading try scorers, best and fairest awards, the McDougall medal. He's just been an absolute champion player for 4 or 5 years, so it's really well deserved that he gets an opportunity to step up and live the life of a professional player, albeit over in the UK. Would have loved to have seen him picked up by an Australian super franchise, but Tim's got a lot to offer over there in the UK, and we wish him the best.
Absolutely, and as you mentioned before, Jared Butler, the one to step into number 8 today. How do you think he'll go?
Oh, look, it's a great replacement, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, Tim Cree, who's such a champion player, and then you bring in a Jared Butler who, is a fully capped Brumby, an award winner. Played in the premiership with us last year and was really keen after the Brumbies were knocked out last weekend to actually come and play. So that's a credit to Jared. He just wanted to come and play with his club. So really looking forward to him playing well today.
And obviously there's some adjustment for him coming from the Brumbies setup, but the Vikings play sort of a similar game to the Brumbies, and he won't find too much trouble in adjusting?
No, definitely not. No, and Jared is a really intelligent player. I mean, he trained with us all week, and just picked up all of the line-outs, all the plays, patterns, calls, moves. He was around them really quickly. As you mentioned, some of them are run at the Brumbies, and he's familiar with them. But just a great player and smart footballer.
As Michael Henry resets for Vikings, right on the 10-metre line. Not a straight throw, says referee Bowden.
Yeah, they'll be disappointed with that because Michael Henry's throwing has been excellent all year, and that line out, they should have been able to execute that a bit better.
So both these teams have played each other this year so far, and they've played 2 games, and it's 1 apiece. So pretty tantalising prospect for the rest of the game so far. We've had a pretty tight contest with the exception of some Jerome and Niamata magic on the right wing.
Yeah, look, there hasn't been a struck match between these 2 teams. It's 1-1 and then really close again today, and they're first and second on the ladder, so you would expect that they'll be playing each other in about 3 weeks' time in a major semi-final. But yeah, so absolutely close, so we're in for a treat. And great scrum from Queanbeyan. They really got the ascendancy there, just got the shunt moving forward on Vikings and deserved that penalty.
On paper, they definitely have a lineup that rivals Tuggeranong's. Some names and experience in that front row that would send shivers down most teams in this competition. Leslie Macon, he's he's well capped, isn't he? And
He is a very established player and deserving of his super contract with the Brumbies. And he's had some injury worries this year, but it's good to see him back playing. And absolute quality scrummager.
As Gareth Clouston got a hand on that line-out from Carl Elliott. But it went forward, so Queanbeyan reset and goes forward through Sokotai as they send it wide. One right, hits Phil Kite, and Kite pancakes him into the ground. And one right again. Rodney Iona, the one around the legs for Tuggeranong. Mitch Douch in only his third game in first grade today for Queanbeyan. He's the one who passes it out to Zach Tarrant, and Zach Tarrant feeds it left for Queanbeyan. Well, and a penalty against the play.
Yeah, an obstruction there, Kieran. Yeah, Billy Chalker got the ball and his outside man obstructed the defence. So Brett Bowden quite rightly awards a penalty to Tuggeranong there, but they were fortunate because Queanbeyan were on the front foot.
And we talk about both teams having one win each so far this season. What does it mean sort of for a team at this stage in the season, there's only 3 games left each, to have a win so close to finals against the team that they're probably going to face early on? Yeah,
well, I know Tuggeranong coach Brad Harris sees this as a very important game, especially considering the loss to Uni Norths last week. It's put Tuggeranong under a little bit of pressure at the top there, with Queanbeyan only being a point behind them on the competition table. So, this is an absolute crucial game. As you mentioned, only 3 weeks out from finals.
As Blake Hemmond finds Jerome Neomata right in the centre of the field. Hemmond digging in there, but it's a fairly tight ruck. And not rolling away, says referee Bowden. So Tuggeranong pulled up there.
Yeah, that's a disappointing one when you're on attack and you're the attacking team and give away a penalty there. Tuggeranong won't be happy with that.
There's a fairly good crowd in today. Usually is for Queanbeyan Tuggeranong games, and the sun is out, so that probably helps things a bit. As Jerome Neomata regathers a failed Queanbeyan free kick. That one didn't find touch. Ernest Suavai was the man who took it up to the line.
A great run from Ernest there.
Tuggeranong with a few men wide, but they'll punch up again through Phil Kite. Henman finds Iona. Iona with his iconic left step beats 2 and then carries another 2 with him, but turns it over, loses the ball underneath. Mitch Douch puts it on the boot, sends it deep. Jerome Neomata needs help, but he's on his own. He'll kick it and it won't find touch. So Queanbeyan will regather, and Tuggeranong now will have to reset. And they lose the ball again. So a comedy of errors there for both teams. And it ends up with Queanbeyan, Mitch Douch, set to reset.
Kieran, Queanbeyan are really winning the race to the tackle and post-tackle contest at the moment. Every ruck they're putting pressure and heat on the Tuggeranong carries. So they turned over that ball just before when Tuggeranong were in attack in the run from Rodney Iona. And they just continue at each and every breakdown to be hard on the ball, win shoulders, and it's really working for them. They're starting to get a lot more possession, and Tuggeranong are under a lot of pressure.
I was watching them warm up before the game, and they seem to have an intensity that you would expect, I guess, 20 minutes into a game. They were all sweating, and it was more than a warm up.
Yeah, well, look, that's part of the rivalry, isn't it? It's first versus second. There's a lot on the line. We're close to finals, and they always lift and play well against Tuggeranong.
As Dan Penka is the man who is sent to get some work done. He must have some blood there on his face.
Yeah, just a blood bin, I think, just to try and clean Dan up.
So Queanbeyan do find touch and an opportunity now to level the scores. Big moment here for Tuggeranong with just under 25 minutes left in the first half at Viking Park. They'll want to be quick off the line and nice and tight as Sokotai takes it up for Queanbeyan. And they're holding up play nice and slow now, just setting themselves, no rush. As they jab again to the left of the ruck. And again, Another play. That's the third phase in a row with a short little run, and they're punching and they're finding room. They've gained about 3 metres with about 3 runs. 4 now as the ball is lost.
Yeah, I think he went into his own player there, Kieran, so it was an
Okay.
obstruction. And they were doing, as you mentioned, the pick and go plays were really troubling Tuggeranong, but running into his own player means Brett Bowden has given Tuggeranong a scrum put in here, so probably fortunate.
So Tuggeranong do well to ensure that that pick and go doesn't hit the line, because they were getting nice and close there. Tuggeranong have a number of ways of getting out of trouble. What can you expect to see here?
Yeah, look, they do have a lot of exit plays which will allow them to usually take a phase and then get a good kick away. So here I expect it might go to Jake Rakic, the inside centre. He might carry the ball hard. They'll try and win that breakdown and get a good kick away.
Jake Rakic is just one outside Rodney Iona in the goal line. Blake Henman shaping up to deliver it to him. Brendan Allardyce knows his Tuggeranong Vikings very well.
So you notice the Tuggeranong forwards have set up a really good screen there, so Blake can get an easy pass to Rodney, not under a lot of pressure, and gets a really good kick away to the far side.
And a bit of breathing space for Tuggeranong now. With the line outs, Carl Elliott to throw it in for Queanbeyan, just in front of the kids' jumping castle there. It is Sponsors Day, where Tuggeranong take the chance to thank all their sponsors who keep the club running, right from juniors down to up to the seniors. With most of the coaching staff and medical staff, they're all on volunteers.
They are, Kieran. Yeah, we're really lucky to have here at Vikings a terrific support staff. We do a lot of work for the players as volunteers, as you mentioned, but probably one of the best supported amateur rugby clubs in terms of the generosity of the volunteers and the great support staff.
As Queanbeyan take it up. One right again, out wide to Malingi for now. Now finds 2 or 3 players and is taken down. Mitch Douch sends it back to Sokotai. Sokotai doesn't make much ground. Tuggeranong with a tight line, and there's no way through there.
Great defence from the Oakman Hunt brothers there.
Tuggeranong again, not giving them any room. Mitch Douch, just a short little pass. And Queanbeyan lose half a metre. So they're on their 22 now, trying to find a way through Tuggeranong's line. And you can hear, maybe you can hear in the background there, Brad Harris congratulating his players on what was quite tough defence.
Yeah, they were just really organised there, Tuggeranong, and Queanbeyan just didn't have any penetration at all. So Tuggeranong stuck to their structure and just worked to get the turnover, which they've now got.
And we will reset with a scrum. So a lot of these players, there are 3 players in the Queanbeyan lineup and a few more in the Vikings lineup who are preparing for postseason. They're in the NRC lineup at the same time. What do you think that does to their headspace? Is it hard for players to balance regular season duties with obviously what is high honours?
Oh, no, look, I don't think so, Kieran. I mean, these teams are well known to each other. A lot of these players have played against or with each other.
And as Queanbeyan win the scrum, sorry, Brendan, as Queanbeyan win the scrum there, the hooker, Carl Elliott, got a foot in just underneath. And Queanbeyan continue their dominance in the scrum department so far today. Mitch Douts sends it wide to Zach Tarrant. Tarrant over again. Malingi for now cleans it up off a fumble. It was Hamish Ahern who dropped that one, but it thankfully stayed up in the air for Queanbeyan. They punch up again. Douch now sends it wide to Niori Nadruku. The big man takes it forward a few metres. Tuggeranong, though, well organised and ready for him. Queanbeyan again, one left. As Tuggeranong hold tight again
a real
to the
arm
right.
wrestle here, Kieran. Queanbeyan really strong on attack, but Tuggeranong defending and scrambling well.
Sokotai. Well, he went forward a few metres, but then lost a couple more for that. Some good defence. Michael Henry was one of the instigators there at the bottom. Tough player, Michael Henry. As Queanbeyan still searching for a way in. This is their
That's
fifth or
strong
sixth
defence.
phase. Tuggeranong not giving them any room. Plenty of time to reset though. They're not clearing it out very quick, Queanbeyan. And a good hit to take them down. And there was a clean up there for Tuggeranong. It was Jared Butler who picked it up, but referee Bowden said, no, can't do that. Phil Kitte cleans it up this time. Rodney Iona on the outside. He puts it on the boot. It goes past the 50-metre line. Rodney Iona's on his own, but Queanbeyan players are there to clean it up. And there are a few more Queanbeyan players than Tuggeranong players. They needed some support there, Rodney Iona. He maybe not the best decision. Maybe he needed to go down there on the right wing, but Tuggeranong out of trouble for now. As Billy Chalker puts it on the boot for the Whites. Ernest Suavai will collect it, and he will find touch.
Yeah, that's a great kick to relieve pressure from Ernest there. So Billy Chalker, probably a good idea just to drop it into the corner. Ernest read it really well and replied with a long kick.
Carl Elliott to restart for Queanbeyan. And a good line out from them. Douch out to Tarrant. And one more wide, just left of centre field. As Queanbeyan punch up the middle again. Fairly slow to release it. Tuggeranong can be quite pesky at the breakdown, especially Rowan Perry a couple of weekends ago. He was pulled up a few times for his efforts there.
Yeah, it's a balancing act, but certainly that's a feature of Rowan's game, that he attacks the breakdown looking for jackals or pilfers of the ball. And sometimes it works for him, other times not so much.
And does it depend on the referee as well? Some referees pick it up a bit more than others.
Yeah, I think like all good back rowers, Rowan lives on that line where, the blurred line, if you like. He's wanting to be hard on the ball and get some turnovers. And, it does come down to interpretation sometimes as to...
A bit of a scramble for the ball there. They were looking at the referee. They thought he was going to blow the whistle, but he said play on.
That was lucky for Tuggeranong. Dan Pencer, the Queanbeyan captain, just went straight through there. So,
and he had a bit of weight on Blake Henman and probably was going to be able to shrug him off, but Tuggeranong with another chance.
Looks like more blood on Dan Pencer, so he's going to have to come from the field and get that cleaned up again. So another blood bin.
See a bit on his shirt there.
So that was a pretty frenetic pace there, Kieran. So I think both sides are looking forward just to a little breather at the moment, have a drink and just take stock.
It was almost as many support staff as players headed out onto the field with that blood bin rule. So they're sucking in the waters, and under the sun, it's probably a few degrees warmer than it is up here in the commentary box. So Rowan Perry, we were discussing him before. He's had quite a season since he's come back from shoulder surgery. He had a reconstruction, and the turnaround was fairly quick. They got him back on the field within, was it a month after?
He was out a little bit longer than that, Kieran, but it's absolute credit to Rowan for his dedication to his training, his strength and conditioning, everything down to his nutrition, recovery, and so on. That he was able to really come back from that shoulder reconstruction and slip straight into first grade and hasn't really missed a beat.
And he has been one of the players of form in this second half of the season for Tuggeranong. They had a bit of a wake-up call last week. Uni North's Owls came out pretty strong, didn't they?
They did, yeah. Credit to the Owls. It shows how close the competition is across the board. And Uni just kept working hard, and we probably, Tuggeranong didn't work quite as hard as we would have liked. So it's not a bad thing necessarily to get a wake-up call sort of 4 weeks out from the finals. And I think a similar thing happened last year, so hopefully the loss can jolt a response from the Tuggeranong team.
A win today for Queanbeyan will mean they'll take the top position. But of course, finals are all played here at Viking Park, so the home ground advantage isn't much of an issue, just as long as you're in the top four. It was Frankie Fainifo who wanted Jake Knight on the left, but Jake Knight couldn't quite hold on to it because it was a little bit too high for him.
Yeah, that was a great opportunity. Frankie using his footwork and pace to create an opportunity, and Jake just couldn't quite hold the pass. So it's going to be a scrum to Queanbeyan, but it shows Frankie's potential when given a little bit of room to move, that he can use that agility and footwork, lateral movement, and his absolute acceleration to create chances.
A few of our viewers will probably remember the last time Frankie played in Australia. That was 2010, so 5 years ago. He said the time went pretty quick, but when you say 5 years, it seems like a long time. He's put on a bit of weight since in his time over in France.
It's all that good wine and cheese, I think, in the south of France, but he is fluent in French now, Frankie, so a great life skill he's picked up while being over there.
Yeah, that is impressive. So he enjoys the cultural aspect of it, obviously.
Well, I think he did comment at training the other night that he is enjoying having all the calls made in English after 5 years of having them in French.
As Ernest Suavai, he finds some space out onto the right. He's quick enough to get around another one. That's Billy Chalker, the man he ran around. And an awesome run from Ernest Suavai, as Rodney Iona sends it left through Butler. Butler takes it up. Henman, quick release out to Phil Kitte through Rodney Iona. Kitte gains a couple of metres. Blake Henman finds an open hunt. It is Dean. And Henman right now to Jake Rakic. Jake Rakic to Henry. Henry gains a few metres and a few more metres on the fall down. Ernest Suavai now with a big hit. Sort of a second rower's run there.
Yeah, Kieran, it's become that arm wrestle again that we're familiar with already in this game, where one team's putting phases together and holding some good possession but not really making a lot of metres. Queanbeyan defending devoutly and Tuggeranong just managing to hold the ball but not really penetrate.
And we can't see any cracks yet. Both teams looking nice and neat in their play, which makes for a good game. We'll probably expect low scoring, as it's Michael Oakman Hunt there who takes it up with another Vikings player on his shoulder. Sticking low and staying tight. Rodney Iona puts a little grubber in through the line there. There are a couple of players. That's Jerome Neomata and Ernest Suavai. They try, but they can't get him back over the line. Not releasing the balls, says referee Bowden.
Yeah, that was a smart little kick and a really good chase from Jared Butler and Ernest Suavai there. Put Queanbeyan under great pressure. He didn't release the ball, and so they've earned the penalty here.
And they'll get another opportunity.
Kieran, I'm tipping as Rodney Iona kicks it into touch that Vikings will try their line out, which has served them well all year, which is to turn and drive into a maul. So, yeah, you'll see here it'll be a full line out. Again, Rowan Perry has gone to the halfback position. He'll become the ripper, and they'll try and keep this up and drive it over.
And they set themselves for that play. Can't quite see who it is at the back there, but it is probably Rowan. It is Rowan Perry, as you were saying. As we send one more out to Rodney Iona, who steps to. He's slippery Rodney. Rock and Rods, they call him. Henman sends one wide, but it's a bit loose, and there's a Queanbeyan player on it.
Yeah, no, Tuggeranong didn't take very good options there in attack, but luckily enough, Queanbeyan offside, so they've earned another penalty here.
And referee Bowden, he had a yellow card up in the air there. There was a card, but I can't see a player walking off.
Yeah, I think it may be Tom Darmody, the number 8. He's walked around the back of the field there, so definitely he was the one offside, so I think he has got the yellow card.
So a repeat offence there from Tom Darmody. Brett Bowden being quite strict on most offences today. He's cracking down nice and tight. He's expecting some professional footy, I guess.
Well, I think just close to the try line as well. If you are repeatedly offside when a team's attacking that close to the line, then you're going to cop penalties, but also cards usually, Kieran.
Mm-hmm. And they try the rolling maul, but it breaks down into a ruck as Fainifo does a little jig and takes it up to the line. The ball comes out. It's a little bit loose, though. Iona picks it up. Perry has it now. He tries to find a way through, but there are 3 players on him, and he's caught nice and high. Referee Bowden
I think he's gone back. Tuggeranong did have an advantage there, so he's called that a maul, but Queanbeyan did hold it up really well. But we'll come back for the scrum for Tuggeranong.
And referee Bowden calls time off with just over 10 and a half minutes to go in the first half here at Viking Park. One of the interesting things about this competition, which is played at quite a high level, is that I guess in comparison to the rugby league competition here in Canberra, the players have quite a lot of access to the top level. Brumbies players often try and find time to come down. Scott Seo, Wallabies front row forward, comes in and came in and had a game a few weeks ago for Vikings, and all clubs generally get a bit of support from the Brumbies throughout the season.
Yeah, look, Kieran, it's an absolute strength of the John Ident Cup that something Jake White started in his tenure with the Brumbies, and certainly credit to Stephen Larkham and Dan McKellar at the Brumbies who have continued on that the Brumbies players will play in the John Ident Cup in Canberra when not on Brumbies duty. So it's strengthened the competition. It's put some absolute quality players around all of the clubs and can only raise standards, so it's a really good thing.
Stephen Larkham is the Brumbies coach now, and I actually saw him down at a West Uni game the other week. He seems to be a regular around the traps. He enjoys carrying on that legacy.
Yep, I remember when he had his career in this competition way back before becoming a Brumby even. So certainly, yeah, he's a good supporter of the local competition.
Showing your age there, Brendan. They don't have a camera on you, remember? So Blake Henman will feed the scrum here for Tuggeranong.
Queanbeyan only have 7 men in the scrum too, Kieran, with that yellow card to Tom Darmody, so they're going to look to try and drive the scrum here.
And you can see that that's working so far. They have got the upper hand. Blake Henman watching. And it's usually Tim Cree at the back there who puts it between his feet and juggles it, and a couple of times this season he's earned himself 5 points for being a little sneaky at the back of the scrum.
Yeah, definitely. Jared Butler was controlling the ball on that occasion and doing a great job. Very Tim Cree-like the way he was able to drag the ball along with great skill at the back of the scrum.
Referee Bowden awarding the penalty to Tuggeranong again. They'll get another set. So on my count, just off the top of my head, this is the 5th time that they've had a restart. So they'll be a bit upset if they don't turn these into points.
Yeah, look, I think Vikings now are really applying some good pressure and hopefully they can get, for their sake, they can get a reward on the scoreboard. Obviously, now's the time to strike while Queanbeyan have a player in the sin bin. They've got all the territory at the moment. They're right up their end. And so, yeah, hopefully from this scrum we might see an opportunity materialise.
What was the discussion during the week at training, Brendan, when you're coming off that loss? The boys, they played against Uni, who had several send-offs, several sin bins. There was a total of about 35 minutes where they had 14 men as Blake Henman takes it out right, puts Ernest Suavai through a gap.
Yeah, great try.
Wow, neat little try. And Suavai, well, he could have walked through that, but well, he hit that nice and hard and puts another 5 points on the board for Tuggeranong. And Rodney Iona, another chance to redeem himself from, well, on his own admission, a poor week last week.
Yeah, look, Rodney wouldn't have been happy with his kicking last week. Scored 4 tries, but didn't convert any of them. So he's been doing some work on that during the week. He's a very proud goal kicker, so I'm sure his practice will show through today. He'll get his process right and start striking some goals. But in answer to your earlier question, Kieran, I think certainly Brad Harris did a really good review of the Uni North's game and then a really good preview of this Queanbeyan game coming up. So the players during the week worked really hard on the training track and got some really good technical information via the review of what they didn't do well against Uni Norths and then setting a preview of what they were in for today against Queanbeyan in a top-of-the-table clash. So it's been a really good week on the training paddock and hopefully it shows today.
Absolutely, and well, Queanbeyan, they'll potentially find themselves 14-0 down here. What do they have to do with 7 minutes left on the clock?
Oh, look, I think Adam Fay, the Queanbeyan coach, would be hoping not to concede any more points in the remaining 7 minutes of the half while he's got a player in the bin. And so he'd hopefully, just not allow any more points.
for the remaining.
Rodney Iona
half.
does miss that one, so it remains 12-0 with just under 7 minutes to go now. So they'll have 14 men for the rest of the half, because that sin bin was just under 10 minutes to go.
And this is a key period, Kieran, because as Queanbeyan will be hoping not to concede any more points, Tuggeranong will be hoping to get onto the scoreboard again.
And here's Jerome Niamata again, who beats another man, little bump off, and finds another 20 metres. Wow, he's on fire so far today. But referee Bowden pulls it up.
Yeah, again, Tuggeranong players, really strong carries running the ball, but they're getting onto the ground, and then Queanbeyan are competing really hard for that ball. They're winning the race.
And to Queanbeyan's credit, they haven't dropped intensity despite conceding another 5 points. They will do well here to put another couple of phases together to try and narrow that margin before half-time. And probably you neutral fans out there will be hoping that they do. A 12-0 scoreline, though, isn't insurmountable in a half of football.
Yeah, Kieran, not the way these two teams can attack and rack up points. 12-0, it's certainly not comfortable at all.
Well, Tuggeranong.
Yeah, referee Brett Bowden, Kieran there, has awarded that like a truck and trailer are essentially an offside from the maul that they were trying to drive. So Tuggeranong get awarded the scrum put in, which is going to relieve a lot of pressure.
A little bit of a get out of jail free card there, right in front of the Red Army, of who there are many today, but as I mentioned earlier, it is Sponsors Day, so there are a number of people up in those stands who probably aren't normally here but are enjoying a day in the sun. They'll get the sun for most of the afternoon. The games usually finish just before sunset, and we do our pre-game, post-game interviews in the dark generally.
There is a great crowd over there, Kieran, so I'm sure the Tuggeranong Valley Rugby Union Football Club will be absolutely thrilled that so many sponsors are here today watching their team.
The Brumbies obviously not making it past their semi-final last weekend, going down to the Hurricanes in Wellington. And so, as we mentioned before, Jared Butler coming back from Super Rugby to play for the Vikings today. They'll have a few players come off the bench in the second half, Tuggeranong, who can provide some spice if there are some sore legs out there. But Rodney Iona, who has the ball now, he'll play most of the game, if not all. Jake Rakic is the one who puts it on the boot and finds Hamish Ahern. And he releases it eventually, but Brett Bowden says that was okay, as Queanbeyan make their way back to the centre of the park. Some good field position there from Jake Rakic. He found the gap on the boot, and a big hit. And Tuggeranong turned the ball over again. Blake Henman puts the boot in again. It won't go out.
Close.
Jerome Niamata nice and tight. Blake Henman is pushed off, but slows the play down enough. Sokotai takes it out for Queanbeyan, who puts it on the boot but doesn't find touch. Rodney Iona is the man there who passes it to Henry. They got a bit of space. And it's Ernest Survey who hits it up. He's a strong man, Ernest Survey. Former volleyball player who started playing rugby a little bit more professionally when he had a few ankle injuries.
That was a brilliant tackle, though, from Keith Morgan from Queanbeyan there, Kieran. Tuggeranong could have been away there with Ernest and Frankie looming, and he just held him up in the tackle beautifully. So well done to Keith Morgan.
As Tuggeranong find themselves on the right wing now. Handman finds Perry. It was a good head up from Perry. Iona to Ernest Suavai. But good defence from Queanbeyan again, shutting that down. Bad pass from Michael Henry over the top. Jake Knight does well to clean up, and that's why they call him the snake. Little weave in and out there. Sione Tuula, the big man, hits it up.
Yeah, great carry, Sione.
And the ball comes loose. Sione Tuula put it out, and there might have been a hand or a foot in there that kicked it out, but Queanbeyan did well there to clean it up. Hamish Ahern puts it on the boot. Ernest Silvai, the man to clean it up. And he'll carry a few metres before finding Jake Knight, who steps 1 and 2 and then goes below Sokatai. And it's Fainifo who gains a few metres for Tuggeranong. Henman finds an open hunt with a good carry, nice strong carry. And Perry on the back of a nice little ball there. Beats one, takes another.
Phil Cote with a dummy there, Kieran. Wow.
I've heard
he's still going.
He's about 5 minutes out there, 5 metres out there.
That's a great run, Phil.
Phil Kitte, I think he fancies himself as a back rower or even a back liner. He's been known to put it on the boot himself a few times.
He has. No, he does love to run the ball, Phil. Good to see a tight head prop galloping in space.
And Sione Tuula gains a couple of metres. It is Kitte again who reaches out.
Yeah, look at that, Philly.
Wow, and he's deserving of that one because he was critical in finding some good field position for Tuggeranong. He beat 1 and 2 with that dummy. Tuggeranong went right and then back in the centre off the back of a Tuula pass. Kitte, well, he barges over.
That's a big blow to Queanbeyan, Kieran, at that point in the game with 40 seconds left of the first half. As I mentioned before, Adam Fay would have been hoping that his team didn't get any more damage on the scoreboard. But Vikings now have skipped to 17 and likely 19 points right in the shadows of half-time. So I know Adam Fay will be disappointed.
They'll have some regrouping to do because this kick will take us to half-time with just 12 seconds left on the clock. Rodney Iona with a bit of an easier kick just to the right of the goal post. So Tuggeranong taking advantage of their 14-man Queanbeyan side. With
it shows, Kieran, when teams show ill discipline and they end up with yellow cards, it really comes back to hurt you, in terms of being down a man. It's amazing how the other side gets such an advantage. It really is an indicator.
Yeah. It is an interesting point to make, though, that last week Tuggeranong didn't capitalise on it. I was mentioning before, 35 minutes or so, Tuggeranong were playing against Uni North, who had only 14 men on the field. And, well, I guess they did score a try in one of those periods, but for the rest of the time, their attacking play wasn't on song. Today, though, they seem to be putting together their set pieces nicely.
Yeah, look, I don't think Tuggeranong have played perfect football, but I think Coach Harris will be really pleased that they've stuck to the task, and when they have had opportunities up that end of the field, they've taken them, and that's why they've got 3 tries to 0 on the board. So whilst it was an arm wrestle in the middle of the field, when Tuggeranong did get opportunities at the right end, they've made them count. And 19 points is a pretty good buffer at half-time, to be fair.
A number of the senior players I've talked to throughout the season in post-game interviews, they've all said that they can't wait to put 80 minutes on. Tuggeranong's still yet to pull out their best performance according to the players.
Yeah, I don't think, again, Brad Harris would be too worried. I mean, from my experience, you don't want to be peaking too early. So, I mean, you don't want to be playing the perfect performance, in the middle of the season. You really want to be able to peak at finals time. So, Tuggeranong have been a little bit patchy, but certainly, they've played 40, 50, 60 minutes of absolute quality in most games. And so what Brad and the team will be looking to do is to keep building on that in terms of their conditioning and in terms of the detail of their game. So that, in finals in 3 weeks' time, they're really playing their best football then.
And if we look at the next couple of weeks, the Tuggeranong Vikings are back at home to Royals, and we will be broadcasting that game again live. They then head on the road, and it's their first game up in the windy north against Gungahlin for the season to round out the 17 rounds. Well, pretty hard road into the finals. It'll test the boys.
Yeah, I think you wouldn't have it any other way though, Kieran. I mean, you want to be able to hit the finals, that major semi-final weekend, in good form and with some hard rugby under your belt and battle-hardened, if you like. So I think Coach Harris and the team will see that as a really good lead into the finals. Tough game against Queanbeyan today. Arch rival Royals here next week, as you mentioned, and then a road trip to Gungahlin for the final round. I mean, and Gungahlin certainly out there will be a threat, and they'll be keen to do well in their last game of the season. So probably a perfect preparation, really, when you think about it, coming into a semi-final weekend that you've got 3 hard games under your belt to finish the season. Some other clubs obviously have the bye, and so they've got to manage that in terms of resting and not having the momentum that hopefully Vikings will have.
And if we look at the ladder as it stands before this round started, obviously the other games are on as we speak. They all started about the same time on a Sunday afternoon, so we'll get those results. You can find them online after today's game. So Tuggeranong and Queanbeyan, as we mentioned before, are the 2 top teams and likely to face each other.
Yeah, but Kieran, I think is the team coming third at the moment, Western District Rugby Club. They're in great form at the moment. I think they've won 5 or 6 in a row, so they're really showing. They're a clear third on the ladder, and in fact not far behind Queanbeyan in second. Maybe still a chance to steal that one of the spots.
And if we look back to round 7 here at Viking Park, West were here and they put together a stellar 40 minutes. The opening half really tested Tuggeranong before they came back out. And
they're a dangerous side, West, absolutely, in all grades. They're finishing the season really well. Wouldn't expect anything less. They're a quality club. So, they're certainly a danger across all the grades. They've finally got all their players back on the paddock, and they've hit form, and they're going from strength to strength. So it's not a 2-horse race of Vikings and Queanbeyan, so long as Wests are playing like that.
Absolutely. The other interesting point to note about the ladder is that University, Uni North, they're just outside the top 4 now, and they're looking likely to miss the finals. In fact, mathematically, they've got 10 points to make up, and that's impossible with 3 rounds to go. So the top 4 are set. It'll be Tuggeranong, Queanbeyan, West and Royals when it comes to finals time. We can maybe see a change on 2 and 3. West with the potential to get up to second spot and face Tuggeranong, but they'll have to do well, and Queanbeyan will have to have a dud last couple of rounds. Gungahlin University, they're the only other team to beat Tuggeranong this year apart from Queanbeyan. So interesting that they're going to miss out.
Yeah, look, Uni, I guess, have been a little bit inconsistent. I mean, in most games they've had great opportunities and had leads and really shown against Queanbeyan and Tuggeranong and West that they're a contender. I guess I'll be disappointed with their inconsistency because they've probably dropped games that they shouldn't have, and so they find themselves on the fringes of the 4 but not really likely to feature in the 4 this year. So, but certainly those 4 you mentioned, Tuggeranong, Queanbeyan, West and Royals, have been the 4 best sides this year, so it makes for a cracking final series in a couple of weeks.
Looking forward to it all here at Viking Park, as we mentioned earlier. Well, welcome back to Viking Park as Tuggeranong gets set to kick off for the second half here with the score 19-0 to Tuggeranong. Queanbeyan were playing with 14 men for the last 10 minutes of the first half, with a yellow card awarded for a repeat offside offence as Tuggeranong find themselves in their defensive territory. Rodney Iona takes them out though, just over the 50-metre line. He's up and heavy into Tuggeranong's line, shrugs off a couple, proving a slippery character. And referee Bowden awards the penalty to Tuggeranong. They will get another chance to strike early here at Viking Park. A strong lead for Tuggeranong, 19 points to 0 with the extra 7 points added just right on the final buzzer, 40 seconds to go.
Kieran, I just touched base with Tuggeranong coach Brad Harris, and he mentioned the message to his players at half-time was very much to try and score first. If they could do that, that would give them the bonus point and really kick them clear. So their focus is just on playing well this opening 10 minutes and having an opportunity to hopefully score.
Well, a good-looking line-out. Michael Henry finding Gareth Clouston. Oh, and a big hit. It was
Massive.
It was Dean Oakman Hunt there, and he looks okay. He's rolling out of there. So Frankie Fanifo beats 2 and trying to shrug off a third. He's carrying backwards, just 7 metres out now, as another Oakman Hunt brings it up, but the ball is lost. So Queanbeyan out of trouble early. Oh, but the ball is lost again. Queanbeyan Whites, Brett Bowden brings it back to the first lost ball, so Queanbeyan will have the loose head. And, Brad Harris wouldn't be too happy with that.
No, exactly. At least they've got field position, I guess, Kieran. If they can start this end of the park, it'll give Tuggeranong the best chance. And Queanbeyan, I think, will be looking to the exact same thing as what Vikings are in terms of getting on the scoreboard. They really need to exert some scoreboard pressure and get some points on the board if they're going to compete in this match.
It has been the year of the injury for the halfbacks and fly halves this year for Tuggeranong. Blake Henman is in at scrum half today for Tuggeranong, and he's had a few games because of that. So, there's the silver lining.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Blake's a local junior and a really great young kid who is taking his chance at the moment and playing some good football. Obviously, Joe Powell has been sorely missed, and the word is that he's close to a return, possibly even next week, but certainly in his absence. And veteran Bo Mokatupu's also had a broken hand injury and been unable to contribute, so it's all fallen on Blake's shoulders, but he's done an excellent job.
Isaac Thompson, the third playmaker for Tuggeranong, who is out. He's had a calf injury since early on in the season. It was originally thought to be, not too heavy, but he's had a number of weeks out now.
Yeah, it's one of those injuries that, again, we thought was minor, and upon further investigation, we found it was a significant tear in Isaac's calf. So he's had no luck at all in the second half of this season. So again, hopefully, a couple of weeks he may be able to come back and contribute as well. So good news on the horizon, hopefully.
Absolutely, yeah. He was saying he was hopeful for the finals. As Queanbeyan, they win the first penalty off the scrum for the second half. Blake Henman, we were just talking about him a moment ago. I've noticed his passing skills have improved. Early on in the season, he was missing a few when he was partnering up with Bo Mokatupu and replacing Joe Powell, who had a few weeks out with the Brumbies. Well, that was awesome for Joe Powell getting his first chance as the ball is turned over. Blake Henman cleans that out, passes to Phil Kitay. Henman again finds Iona. And Rakic, a good run from Rakic.
Yeah, great run, Jack Rakic. On the front foot now, Kieran.
Henman. And he finds Butler, who gains a couple of metres. Henman again. Iona looks to pass, but beats one.
They're probing here, but they need patience, Kieran. If they're going to score points, they really just need to be patient.
Henman now out to Henry. Michael Henry, that is, club captain. Henman again finds Rakic, who is looking sharp today. Well, he's had some highlights this year for Tuggeranong. Henman again out to Butler.
Another local junior there, Kieran. Jake Rakic, as you're mentioning, his carries have been excellent today.
Rowan Perry now, who's he's been kept up nice and high. He wants to go to ground, but Queanbeyan doing well to...
Yeah, good defence from Queanbeyan. They just keep scrambling. They were able to hold that up and turn it into a maul, and now they've got to put into the scrum. So,
and that's not the first time today that they've done that to the Tuggeranong attack.
I think Coach Harris will be disappointed with some of the carries. The body height has been a little bit high, and it's allowed Queanbeyan to hold the ball carrier and get a turnover, essentially. So it'll be something that I'm sure they'll get a message out there that the body height needs to be dropped.
As we prepare for a restart, it is interesting that Jerome Niamata and Jake Knight have swapped wings today. They're usually on the other side. What's behind that?
Yeah, look, I think it's just maybe a bit of a tactical thing, just to throw something different at Queanbeyan. Both players have got fantastic agility and elusiveness, and I mean, Jerome, we all know his lateral movement, his ability to move sideways at speed and beat the first couple of opponents is great. You mentioned before, Jake the Snake Knight, he can always find a gap and beat the first defender. So I think they're just trying to throw something a little bit different at Queanbeyan as to what wing they're on.
Notice Andrew Robinson, who's warming up on the sideline there. He'll be wearing the number 22 jersey today. He stepped aside for Frankie Fanifo as Tuggeranong earned the penalty off the scrum. So one each for the second half. They're pretty happy with that. Good scrum from Tuggeranong.
That was payback, I think, for a couple of good Queanbeyan scrums in the first half. Vikings have turned that around, which is a great result to earn a penalty from the scrum.
So Robinson, under 20s Australian player for Tuggeranong. He's preparing to come on. He is off the bench today because Frankie Fanifo, and it looks like Fanifo is the one who's going to come off now. So a good start from Fanifo in his first game starting for Tuggeranong this year. He was mentioning earlier today that it is his goal to get back into Super Rugby.
Yeah, look, Frankie's had that experience at Super Rugby and professional rugby overseas, as we mentioned earlier, and I think he still has ambitions to make it at that level, and I'm sure some of the Australian super sides are probably looking at his potential.
And not a bad replacement in Andrew Robinson, who, he's gone from strength to strength this season after a couple of injuries last year. As Henman sends it to Rakic, who's nice and high. Queanbeyan doing well again in defence, keeping Rakic on his feet, but it goes down now. Henman looking for the ball. And Bowden brings it back. What was the call there?
Look, I think he's got Queanbeyan for offside there, so he was playing a fairly long advantage, but luckily, because as you mentioned, Jake Rakic carried that ball probably a bit too high, and it could have been another turnover, but Tuggeranong fortunate there. They've come back for the offside, and now they'll kick into touch, and I would imagine try and drive the line out again. But certainly Andrew Robinson, as you mentioned before, Kieran, another local junior who's represented Australia and played at various Brumby levels, and just a great kid, played very well in second grade today, and be looking for all of this second half to stake his claim to get back into first grade.
As Plouston gathers the line out. Plouston the man up today. Usually it's one of the Oakman Hunt brothers, but with a bit of a change up in the forward pack. Rowan Perry has at the back of the maul, and he's rolling through, and they do what they've done quite well this season, and Perry is the man who takes it over for Tuggeranong.
Exactly what Coach Harris wanted to get the first score of the second half, and so they'll be really happy with that. But their maul probably hasn't worked perfectly today, but that one there, they were able just to control the ball and make the metres and step over the Queanbeyan players who were lying on the ground, and once they were past them, it became quite obvious that Rowan was a great chance to score that.
Well, some coach pleasers there, some repeat phases straight off the back of a couple of Queanbeyan mistakes, and they find themselves 24-0 with a kick to come. Rodney Iona, well, he's had all his kicks from right of the post today. Joe Powell looking forward to getting back. He's out with a broken finger. He hasn't actually had a chance to pair with Rodney Iona this year, except for that one game where he came on for 5 minutes for the Brumbies.
Exactly, yeah. They played some time together with the Brumbies, but I think Joe's had a long period of frustration. He's been training the house down in recent weeks, and as we mentioned, he's hopeful of a return even as soon as next week.
It's a pretty nasty little finger injury. He got a bit of stick from Coach Brad Harris for staying on because he's a tough customer. He broke it early in the second half and just kept playing right the way through. It was actually a compound fracture, which isn't nice to see if you don't like blood.
Yeah, indeed. But his frustration is nearly over, so I can't wait to have Joe Powell back out there.
Absolutely. He's great to watch too with a bullet pass, which is probably one of the things that the Brumbies like about him. As Queanbeyan restart here, Rodney Iona kicks out of touch. And the touch judge has his flag up right on the halfway line. So Queanbeyan now through Carl Elliott with the chance to throw it in. Oh, and a good jump there from Rowan Perry.
Yeah, stole that.
He was a bit Gumby there. There was a big stretch, bent to the torso and reached over and won the ball for Tuggeranong. Andrew Robinson with his first touch of the game out on the left wing. He makes a few metres. Phil Kitze on the wing himself.
Tight head prop running the ball again. Great to see.
He's put a few on the boot so far this year, as we said before. He's auditioning for a spot with the Eastlake Demons, I imagine.
That was really poor play from Tuggeranong there. Well done to Queanbeyan to keep their medal in
Capitalise
defence.
as Hamish O'Han drops the ball with some good pressure from Jerome Niamata. It was an Oakman Hunt. Michael Oakman Hunt lost the ball on the second, but the referee will play the double knock-on, so Tuggeranong, well, they'll get the loose head. Referee Bowden not happy with the support staff having their say. Just instructing them to step back a little bit. The crowds at Vikings, well, they love their rugby here at Viking Park, and they can get vocal, but it's quite a good atmosphere down in the grandstand, and especially over in the sun with the Red Army.
Yeah, it looks to me the supporters group, the Red Army, over at the bunker there, and the marquees full of sponsors, and the jumping castle full of juniors. It's great to see such a healthy crowd and no wind and nice sun. So yeah, we've turned on a great day for them here.
Absolutely. The players, they have much to do with the youngsters in the Viking system. Do they get a chance to see them very much?
Yeah, look, when they can, certainly. There's a good affinity between the senior and junior clubs, and a number of the juniors are training in development squads or in the Vikings Academy, or they've been around. It's fantastic. We always have good support from the juniors here to watch the seniors and actively be ball boys and things like that. So there's some really good, strong connections between the senior and junior clubs.
And Sione Toola gets some work done on what looked like his hand there, probably just a finger taped up. It is still fairly chilly down here in Tuggeranong. No breeze though, fairly still afternoon. It's probably the first weekend of winter so far that has really gripped, with temperatures well below zero early in the morning and sticking below 10 degrees during the day as Blake Henman finds Iona. Iona quick with a wraparound. Nice run there from Iona. Jerome Niamata finds Onasuvai out to Jake Knight. He puts it on the boot. He's nearly taken down. Oh, he'll stretch out for the try.
That is a try.
Oh, that was special stuff from Tuggeranong.
The snake.
Wow, what a finish.
He had some work to do there, Kieran, and he quite wisely just dropped it on the boot just to avoid being tackled. Was able to break through the tackle and then just win the race to that ball. Fantastic from Snakey.
And even after it looked like the ball wasn't going to find touch, it was going to stay in, he didn't. He had another metre or two to gain with the dive. And it is, after a consultation with the touch judge, referee Brett Bowden awards a try and a yellow card. So Queanbeyan find themselves with 14 men again, and another 5 points down with a kick to come.
Yeah, this won't be doing Queanbeyan's confidence any good, Kieran, that's for sure. Vikings are absolutely on song today, and that's their 5th try. Queanbeyan haven't troubled the scoreboard, and they've lost a bit of shape and discipline. So I'm sure Adam Fay and the Queanbeyan staff will be disappointed with how they're going at the moment. They still have over 25 minutes to try and get some respectability and some good play in this half.
Queanbeyan missing a few players today. A couple out to injury and a couple just away on mid-year holidays, that time of year, I guess. The man they call the Chainsaw, Jamie Marmont, is off in the USA. And Doug Lancaster, well, he's away on a holiday. And Chris Barbaro, he has a calf injury picked up last week against Gungahlin. OJ Noah is the other man who's been out for a number of weeks for Queanbeyan. He has a broken arm. So some big names there for Queanbeyan.
Absolutely, yeah. As you're saying, we're under no illusions here at Tuggeranong that Queanbeyan are a little bit undermanned and under strength today. So certainly, finals in 3 weeks' time, they're going to be a lot stronger than they are today.
Adam Fay, though, he wouldn't be using that as an excuse. So.
Oh, no, not at all. No, the guys there are deserving of their spot.
There it is, Billy Chalker who will restart for Queanbeyan Whites. Sends it deep to Jerome Niamata. And he finds the Brumby, Jared Butler. Wow, a penalty against the play again. Referee Bowden awarding Queanbeyan a chance as there's a little bit of a scuffle in the middle there. Tensions rising. Rodney Iona's conversion attempt there before unsuccessful, so it is 31-0. Just under 25 minutes left.
Kieran, I'm expecting in the last 25 minutes for the physicality of this game to really go up.
Is that a word? I like it. It should be a word. Physicality. Keep an eye out for the physicality this afternoon. Well, you've had your first taste there. They're not, both these teams, there's plenty of passion. They do consider themselves rivals, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. Look, it's a really healthy rivalry, and both clubs embrace it.
As Tuggeranong win the line out. Tuggeranong doing well to read Queanbeyan's play today as the ball is kicked deep. Rodney Iona finds touch. Queanbeyan looking for a quick restart through Hamish Ahern, but they won't take it, so they'll reset for the line out. Can we expect to see our most recent under-20s representatives on the field today? Connell McInerney and Tyrell Lomax, both coming back recently from the UK.
Yeah, my understanding, Kieran, is that Tyrell Lomax got a minor injury in the Colts fixture today, so we probably won't see him coming onto the field, but certainly Connell McInerney, the other Australian under-20 representative, is on the reserves bench and should probably get some game time, I would have thought.
The Australian under-20s did well over there. They won a few games. They ended up finishing 5th and defeating Wales 28-23 in the final game.
Yeah, it was a good result. Yeah, after losing that one to South Africa, they came back and beat Scotland and Wales. And yeah, to finish, I think that's their highest finish in a number of years. To finish 5th was great.
It is a World Championship event, and it's played every year at the under-20s level, so players get a good chance to have a taste of international rugby. Connell McInerney was a starter in the front row throughout that tournament, and what have you noticed since he's returned? Has he brought back much experience?
Oh, yeah, look, I think it was great for Connell, thoroughly deserving of that representative opportunity, and no doubt, you know, a tough under-20s World Cup has brought him back a better player.
As Tuggeranong looking good again, Ernest Silva on the end of that pass, looking for Jake Knight, and straight into his chest. Jake Knight is going to be too quick, and down for his second. Again, wow. Whoa, they're carving them up on the left wing in the second half. In the first half, it was the right wing. So
we'll have to call that State Corner, I think, Kieran. 2 great tries there from Jake Knight.
Jake Knight, the snake. In again. Ernest Survey timing his pass brilliantly and straight into the bread basket of Knight, who times his dive again really well. Well, he'll be enjoying his night as long as Vikings hold on. There's still time. There's 21 and a half minutes left on the clock. Queanbeyan Whites, well, they've got a lot to do here to pull themselves back into the game. But they're not incapable. They are, as we said, number 2 in the competition. One of only 2 teams to have beaten the Vikings, who are at the top of the ladder of the John I. Dent Cup. And when they did that, right back in round 5, very impressive. 25-21 the scoreline in that game, so a bit tighter.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't read too much into Tuggeranong skipping away with this at the moment. You know, I think the real stuff starts in a couple of weeks, Kieran. So I don't think Tuggeranong will take too much away.
As Rodney Iona nails that one, you couldn't get closer to the sideline. Short restart from Queanbeyan. There was a lost ball. Jake Rack kicked the man who couldn't handle that one.
Kieran, that last try from Jake Knight I thought was an example of his dynamic ability.
for the Brendan Allardyce dictionary, you can head to Tuggeranong Vikings website. They're available for sale there.
Indeed. Kieran, we've just had a cheerio from Tuggeranong stalwart Nick Scrivener, former assistant Wallabies coach and assistant Brumbies coach. Vikings legend. He's over in Japan coaching Toyota now, and he's listening to our dulcet tones of commentary and listening to watching the streaming from Niseko village in the far north of Hokkaido in Japan.
That's a long way away. Thanks very much for your feedback. And I'm going on the dulcet comment. That's very nice. Queanbeyan attacking now through Nadruku. He makes a few metres on the ground after he goes down, so Queanbeyan to the right looking for some space. Shut down by Tuggeranong. Nice pace here from Queanbeyan on the attacking line as the sun moves across Viking Park. Getting late in the day here in Canberra.
They're a very proud team, Queanbeyan, Kieran, and I'm sure they're going to look to hit back here. They're just starting to control possession, put some phases together.
Zach Tarrant takes it up to the line to fly half for Queanbeyan.
Credit to them, they won't give up.
Mitch Douch. Carl Elliott sends one wide and didn't find his man. Oh, nice little inside ball there. It was Melania Tiatia. But it ends up going down. And Tuggeranong have the ball again. No, well, from the team that has been one of the most threatening in the competition, you wouldn't expect any less than a strong final 18 minutes. So keep an eye out here from some tight plays from their experienced players, especially Carl Elliott in at hooker. And Nadruku, who's come up into the front row, has had some nice strong runs so far in these phases. Queanbeyan getting the ball back again through a lost ball on Tuggeranong's side.
Kieran, even though there's still 18 minutes to go, you can see the fatigue both of these sides are under. And we talked about that rivalry and the intensity, and certainly both teams' strength and conditioning programs are first rate. But you can see how tired the players are. It's been a dour battle.
We had a chat before the game, Brendan, and you were mentioning how well Adam Fay's done to get this side up to scratch again this year. Both these teams obviously were the grand finalists last year, with Tuggeranong coming out on top. Adam Fay was the coach last year, and he's done it again this year to bring the side, well, to one of the best contenders for 2015 John Ident Cup.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Queanbeyan have got that really strong culture at their club, and Adam's a very experienced coach now. And what he's got is players prepared to play for him and prepared to work hard for each other. So they're always going to be a real threat.
A few metres gained there with a nice little inside ball. Tuggeranong slow to get up off their line. And they're holding tight here, but a good run inside. Can't quite see who that is there. Thought there was some claims, but no, they don't think they've gone over yet. And Bowden says penalty to Queanbeyan, not rolling away there.
No, just a scrum put in, I think, Kieran.
Okay.
But one of the hallmarks of the Queanbeyan side, Kieran, as we're saying, is that they never give up attitude. So even though they're trailing 38-0 on the scoreboard, you can see the effort that the players are putting in there. They controlled that piece of play really nicely and went close to scoring. So you can never write off Queanbeyan. They'll never give up credit where that's due.
Just under 16 and a half minutes to go in this game here at Tuggeranong. Arundel, my apologies. We're in Tuggeranong, just about. I have a few friends who are from interstate. As Tuggeranong make a few changes, yeah, a few friends who are interstate who live up on the north side, and they think their perception of Canberra is a little bit different to locals.
Are you kidding, Kieran? This is the beautiful Tuggeranong Valley, looking over the Brindabells.
This is the real south, isn't it? The Kingston area is considered south to some. But we are in the deep south here, as there's no snow on the hills at the moment, but it certainly feels like it.
Indeed.
And a big push from Queanbeyan right outside their line, Tuggeranong's line.
Really good scrum there.
Mitch Douch, good ball, but a lost ball. It was Keith Morgan who couldn't handle it there. as Tuggeranong clear it out, and it's gone just over the 10-metre line. A good chase from Tuggeranong. A number of players up there with some fresh legs. Jake Knight takes him down there.
Oh, great drive.
Tuggeranong players coming right over the top. So there were 3 or 4 players who came off there. So we've got some fresh legs for Tuggeranong. Queanbeyan yet to make many changes. There are a few subs on the field. Phil Kite, one of those who came off. He had a good first half for Tuggeranong.
Yeah, he did, Kieran, and I think Brad Harris is obviously just trying to inject some, as you said, fresh legs into the game. Get some of that fatigue out on the guys who've worked so hard for the first 70 minutes.
Queanbeyan punch up again. That's Senyo Telofoa, one of the replacements. He's been a starter the last few weeks for Tuggeranong in first grade. The ball goes out to Nadruku, who is brought down basically where he received it. Sokatai, the former Brumbies enforcer, takes it a few metres himself. They go right wide through Zach Tarrant.
Great defence from Josh Hitchens there, who's come on, Kieran. And the player we spoke about earlier, Connell McInerney, has also come on.
Josh Hitchens in the number 20 jersey. And it's Andrew Robinson who won't let go, swings the Queanbeyan player to the ground just off the shadow of the grandstand in which we are sitting today. Big wide ball. Oh, and it was Jake Rakic who wanted it, but ended up collecting the Queanbeyan player and taking him down to the ground. Good tackle in the end. He's walked off a little ginger. It was a hard hit. Just good timing. Jerome Neomata taking the Whites to the ground. They go through Zach Tarrant. Little pass, but the ball is lost.
Yeah, great tackle from Liam McGrath, who replaced Phil Kite before. Liam's had a really, really good season. Been an integral part of the first grade pack coming off the bench, and that was just a great tackle that forced a turnover.
Vikings have a big day coming up, the sports lunch, an annual event. And some big names who are coming to speak at the sports lunch on Friday the 17th of July. Ty Kennelly, former Sydney Swans player.
Yep.
He'll be around.
My team, Kieran, the Mighty Swans. So I'll be looking forward to having a catch up with Ty Kennelly and talking about the 2005 premiership when he did the jig on the stage after winning the AFL.
You and me both. Brendan, I'm a Swans supporter as well. It'll be good to hear from him. It is on a Friday at 12:30 p.m. right here at the Arundel Vikings Club. There is also another special guest speaker, former Tets cricketer Greg Ritchie.
Yeah, it'd be great to see Greg Ritchie, who's people will remember him from the Footy Show years ago. He was doing some great impersonations. I think it was Mahatma Coke on that Footy Show, and yeah, I'm sure he'll be a really entertaining speaker. And a couple of other cameos there, Kieran, I think, as well.
Yeah, that's right. So for Canberra Raiders head coach Ricky Stewart and former New South Wales Waratahs coach Chris Hickey. So quite a lineup, and it'll be a fantastic afternoon there.
Yep. So Ricky Stewart, who played at the Queanbeyan Whites, very proud Queanbeyan White, Ricky Stewart. So good to show the Whites that share the love and have one of their ex-players, Ricky Stewart, there. And Chris Hickey, who was a coaching director here for a long time and had great success, coached us to our first grade premiership. Before he went on to Eastwood and the Waratahs and other things, yeah.
Good of both those guys to spend some time and come down and meet the sponsors and members of Tuggeranong Vikings. Live music will be on, of course, there as well, and it's the price is $110 per person, but obviously you get quite a lot for that, for quite an enjoyable afternoon. It's sure to be dress code business casual, so make sure you have your suit ready for that afternoon. Will you be there, Brendan?
Looking forward to it, Kieran, absolutely. Yep.
And so they let you out of the office for these sort of events?
I'm going to just sneak that day off on some annual leave to ensure that I can enjoy the sportsman's lunch. It'd be great.
Very nice. Queanbeyan Whites on the attack now. 5 metres out, they're pushing with their
great drive
rolling maul.
And Brett Bowden's got Liam McGrath coming in from the side there.
So they're playing advantage.
Good tackle from Rowan Perry. Queanbeyan still have it. They're still peppering the line.
Tuggeranong doing well, though, to stay nice and low and defend those. Senyo Tilefoa, good hit there.
Josh Hitchens has got the ball. He's turned it over.
Well done, Tuggeranong.
No,
But
Queanbeyan
Queanbeyan have got it back, and it's Mitch Douch who sends it wide, who finds Zach Tarrant, and Zach Tarrant goes over for Queanbeyan.
Yeah, that's a strong run from the 10.
Well done to the fly half. Off the back of a Mitch Douch pass. And Queanbeyan have their first points of the afternoon with just over 11 minutes to go here at Viking Park, 38-5.
Well, they finally got the reward on the scoreboard, Kieran, that they've threatened a number of times, and so there's a bit of a reward there for all their efforts, considering they've been close to scoring on a number of occasions.
As Tuggeranong make another change there. We'll see who that is and get that to you.
I think it's Jordan Jackson Hope, who has been playing great football in Colts. He's come on for Jake Rackick, by the look of it, Kieran.
Jake Rackick having a fantastic afternoon and a well-earned breather as, well, that was Malingi for now for Queanbeyan, who, well, the conversion was successful, but probably the hardest way possible. He hit the post from right in front and it bounced through, so 38 points to 7. Tuggeranong Vikings in the lead, 10.5 minutes left on the clock. Rodney Iona to restart for Tuggeranong as Tyler Harris comes onto the field.
And Gareth Clouston is the man he's replacing, Kieran.
Gareth Clouston, we haven't talked about him much today, but he has been solid, particularly in the line-out. And
a very important player to the side, Kieran. He's obviously the captain of the team, but you know, he had that 9 months out with an ACL knee reconstruction, and just like we were talking about Rowan before, Gareth worked really hard on his rehabilitation to make sure that he could come back. And
as Rodney Iona steps 1, 2, 3, looking for another one, shoves off another one, but he can't get through Sokotai. Sokotai wraps his big arms around Iona and takes him down, and the ball is lost. So another example probably of what you were discussing there before, Brendan, about good runs, but perhaps poor finishes from Tuggeranong.
Yeah, look, I think both coaches will be keen for their teams to finish this game strongly and take something into their games next week, given we are getting close to the finals, as we've talked about a number of times today. So, you know, it's a first-grade match. There's still 9 minutes remaining. So, although the players are pretty much spent and really fatigued, I'm sure both Brad Harris and Adam Fay will be looking for their teams to finish the game strongly.
Harris having used all of his replacements now, so we can expect the players that are on to keep pushing. And Asurvai, one of those players who've been on from the start, he's right at the back expecting a kick, but he didn't get it. It was Mitch Douch for Queanbeyan who ran and beat a few.
Yeah, great run from Douch, the halfback.
In only his third game for Queanbeyan Whites in first grade this year. And a big hit from Elliott. Good run, a little bit sideways as penalty goes to Queanbeyan. A quick tap from Douch. He's running, he's going to catch them offside. Rodney Iona was not paying attention, running backwards. Didn't end up hurting Vikings though.
And Kieran, the information I gave you before has proven incorrect. Tyrell Lomax is actually out there now, so obviously the injury he sustained in the Colts match was only minor, and it's allowed him to come on and contribute to first grade.
A good chance for him, obviously. He's one of those players who was overseas playing for the Australian under-20s.
Absolutely, he's a future Tyrell very much. He's got another year of under-20s next year, so he's a bottom-age player in this year's Australian under-20s, so he gets another crack at it hopefully next year, and a player of huge potential at 19 years of age as a tight head prop. He can go a long way in the sport.
Future looking bright for Tuggeranong, but obviously the focus for the Tuggeranong club is development, and one of the byproducts of that is you produce good players for them to head on their way up to the next level.
Absolutely, it's one of the missions of the club to provide opportunities for players to play at the level they aspire to. And obviously in our environment, a lot of players aspire to becoming professional footballers. So it's a bit of a factory really with the Vikings Academy now and the really good development programs we run, that so many talented juniors are getting opportunity to play Premier first grade and get other opportunities up into Super Rugby and things.
With the Whites with a nice strong drive there, they find themselves just over 5 metres out from the line. And a quick little 1-2, but there's a lost ball and Tuggeranong cleaned it up well. So they'll have an opportunity to get themselves out of trouble as Hitchens steps one and passes off the ground. Good little pass.
Amazing ball.
Jared Butler, the one on the end of that.
Use the snake. Dynamic ability.
So Tuggeranong in the space of a few seconds getting from defensive territory, and they turn it over again, but the referee will say the first knock-on was the one that counted, and Queanbeyan will have the loose head.
You can see the game has become a little bit scrappy now, which, as I mentioned, Kieran, both coaches will be disappointed with. They want their teams to finish off strongly, but such is the intensity of the rivalry and of the game today that the players are just so fatigued.
We spoke a bit about Tuggeranong's run to the finals before. Queanbeyan have a couple of... they have the same sort of scenario where they have an away game and a home game in their run. West away next week, so they head up north, and Uni at home in Queanbeyan.
Yeah, they're both tough games as well. There aren't any easy games for either side. So, as we mentioned before, how strong Wests are finishing the year. So, West at Jamison next week will be a massive challenge for Queanbeyan.
As Queanbeyan send it 3 passes wide. Hemman looking for Nadruku, but he was shut down. Hemman again, this time finds Macon, and Macon with a big run, hitting Rowan Perry there on the chest. Perry does well with the help of Sione Tuula to bring him down. Sorry, that was Senyo Telefoa.
I'll tell you what, Kieran, the young Queanbeyan halfback, Mitch Douch, is one who's really impressed me today. He's got a lot of potential. He just makes good decisions as to when to run and when to pass. And he showed his strength there with a couple of back rowers holding on to him. He was still able to go forward and present the ball.
With a yellow card here now for Tuggeranong, so they'll spend the rest of the game with just 14 men on the field.
It's Connell McInerney.
Connell McInerney, only a few minutes for him
ruck
today.
Infringement, yep.
He'll be disappointed with that, probably hoping to get that extra 5 minutes of game time. He would have played in Colts earlier today, though.
He did, Connell. Yeah, he's had a full game of Colts pretty much, and an opportunity off the bench that, so he'll miss this last 5 minutes, but that's okay.
And the mentality of the Vikings club is so that they everyone feels like they're a big group. Am I right in saying so? They're not teams, you're a squad.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. We take that squad approach to everything that we do, and I think it's one of our strengths that, as a club, there's no sort of elitism or separate. We're one big squad, essentially, so players can come in and out and up and down between grades and contribute and play well. And everyone knows everyone trains with everyone, so yeah, it's a strength of our program, I'm sure.
And as you see with Connell McInerney playing a full game in Colts and then getting a few minutes on first grades field, and it's surely fantastic experience for the youngsters with that opportunity to come up and play in a faster paced environment.
Yeah, look, Brad Harris does a really good job with that. So there's some of our better Colts who have had representative and rugby and so on. They are getting opportunities off the first grade bench. So, they're thoroughly deserved. And the Colts competition is a strong one, and we're doing really well in that competition. But then the young guys get the opportunity to play some minutes in the tail end of first grade matches, which is just good for their development.
Jared Butler just coming off with one more change. I was wrong there before. Brad Harris bringing Jared Butler off for a breather. He's had an excellent game in his first game for Tuggeranong Vikings this year.
Absolutely. Great game to Jared.
And stepping in, obviously, for Tim Cree. Tim Cree is here today, watching on the sidelines, but he'll be jetting overseas in about 1.5 weeks, he said. And pretty exciting times for him, and exactly what we were talking about before. Tuggeranong offering opportunities for players to step up. It's the development pathways that that is the focus of guys like yourself and Brad Harris, who are in the coaching staff?
Yeah, look, it's been a really great two-way relationship. Tuggeranong's been very good to Tim Cree. Tim Cree's been really good to Tuggeranong, and we wish Tim absolutely the best with his opportunity in the UK, because he's one of those players who works so hard at his craft. He really does deserve an opportunity to step up to the next level and have a chance to make his living out of the industry, out of the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll look forward to hearing more from his experiences over in the UK.
Into the last 3 minutes, Kieran.
And it's Hamish Ahern who has a run, who passes off the deck. And he finds Keith Morgan, who steps 1 and 2 and reaches over the line. Keith Morgan with the try for Queanbeyan. Well done to him. That was some nice work. And Hamish Ahern, the one setting that one up, dragging a few players out from the centre of the field and opening the gap.
Yeah, it was a great pass back inside off the ground, which set that try up. And Keith Morgan, that far out from the try line, is really hard to stop. He's low centre of gravity, a really powerful ball runner, and so he found that gap and then powered over the line.
Something to smile about for Queanbeyan fans then, and that'll make Coach Adam Fay a little bit happier, seeing his side not give up despite the scoreline with just under 2 minutes to go here at Viking Park.
Yeah, Kieran, we did talk about that Queanbeyan will never give up, to their enormous credit. So they've scored the last couple of tries, and I'm sure Adam will take that as a massive positive out of this game, that they were able to finish strongly despite being so far behind.
Malingi Finau with the kick, and he's pushed it right. And a ball boy with a jumping catch there in the goal line. That would have been a mark. Practicing their skills to bide the time. I remember being a ball boy for the Woden Valley Rams. My stepdad is involved with them, and it just doesn't feel that long ago.
It looks like, Kieran, here Blake Henman has got a bump to the nose and got some blood. So the doctor and medical staff are treating him there. We've got no more interchanges, obviously, so hopefully Blake's going to be okay to finish the last minute and a half.
Hopefully it's not too serious of an injury for Blake. He's played very well today, and in my opinion, from what I've seen so far this year, he's probably had one of his best games.
Yeah, look, he has been getting better and better, Blakey, he's and taken the opportunity with two hands, but hopefully he's back in my side next week, Kieran. I say that very selfishly. But
Yes, well, it's not so selfishly, because the Tuggeranong Vikings, if he does drop back to seconds, it'll mean that Joe Powell is back for first.
Yeah, we're all looking forward to that.
As Tyler Harris picks it up off the ground for Tuggeranong, they spread it wide. Andrew Robinson is on the end, beats 1-2, hanging on. Good run from Andrew Robinson, the under-20s representative a few years ago. Rowan Perry is the one with the ball. Good hit up from him. Blake Henman finds Senyo Telefoa, who gains a few metres. He's a big frame, Senyo. And Rodney Iona.
Good hands, Rodney.
Off the knees, pops it up. Will he add his trademark try? He hasn't gone over yet today.
They need to recycle this ball, and they have.
Good stuff from Blake Henman.
The snake.
Oh, and a big dive. He put it on the boot again.
Wow.
There was a Queanbeyan player there to clean it up.
He loves a hat-trick. Hasn't quite got it today, but good game from Jake Knight.
And with 8 seconds left on the clock, there won't be any time for him to reach that milestone. The Red Army with the sunglasses on and the hands up over their eyes as the siren sounds for the end of this game here at Viking Park. A fantastic performance from the Tuggeranong Vikings. They came out strong, and they kept their intensity right through probably about 60 minutes or a little bit more, and posted 38 points. Queanbeyan adding 12 late in the game, and it'll be some consolation for them heading into the final series, and we can probably expect these two teams to come up against each other in a few weeks' time.
Oh, look, absolutely, Kieran. Yeah, these two are the out-and-out stronger sides in the competition. Notwithstanding what we said earlier about the Western District Lions, they're also really finishing the year strongly. But we've seen over recent years the rivalry between these two clubs, and again on show today, and will be again on show, I would imagine, in 3 weeks' time in those semi-finals.
Brendan, your player of the match for today?
Look, I thought Jake Rakic in the centres was great. Honourable mention to Jake the Snake Knight, who scored those couple of tries, but I think Jake Rakic's defence was really early, and his support play and linkages in attack as well were top shelf, so I thought Jake had a great game.
And for Queanbeyan, there were some standout performances. Niori Nadruku came into the game late with an injury to Chris Barbaro, but Nadruku, well, he played the whole game, and which is quite an effort for a front rower, and he had up a few hit-ups that pierced the gap through the Tuggeranong line, and well, Queanbeyan did well to add those 12 points at the end. Adam Fay with some work to do, but won't be too displeased.
No, look, I think Adam will take something from that, as we said during the call, that Queanbeyan didn't have their strongest team there today, and they slipped behind Tuggeranong early, so they're always playing catch-up football, which is not what you want to be doing, but having finished the game so strongly, despite injuries and fatigue and replacements, and I think Adam Fay will use that as a massive positive to motivate his side to do well against Tuggeranong when they do play in a few weeks.
We talked about it earlier in the day, Brendan, how Queanbeyan, although Tuggeranong came out stronger, there was a few stages there where there was a strong arm wrestle between the teams, and it could have gone any way. It turned out that Vikings won those arm wrestles. Queanbeyan, well, they were strong in the scrum.
Yeah, look, Queanbeyan was strong all around, really. I mean, as you're saying, Kieran, I think Tuggeranong took their opportunities. I think the scoreboard probably flattered Tuggeranong a little bit. When they got opportunities to score, they took them, and that's what good teams do. Queanbeyan had lots of opportunities and didn't quite, turn them into points. But as you mentioned, it was an arm wrestle and a really tight tussle, especially for that first 30, 40 minutes.
All right, well, we will wrap things up here at Viking Park as the players, they congratulate each other. A nice touch, I reckon, of this sport. They form a guard of honour and 3 cheers for each other, and it's a reminder that sport is just sport. The intensity on the fields, well, it can be taken out of context sometimes, but if players, as they are now, shake each other's hands and have a good laugh with each other, well, it's a good reminder, especially with recent events, the whole sporting world rocked by the passing of Adelaide Crows coach Phil
Walsh.
Phil
Right, Kieran,
Walsh.
That was absolutely the tragic story in sport this week, and so condolences to the Walsh family and the whole Adelaide Crows Football Club. Hopefully they can work their way through what is just a really sad and tragic event. And it really puts things into perspective, and great sportsmanship from both teams today. All players look like they enjoyed themselves, as Sione Tuula and Sokotai have a quick chat in the middle there. Blake Henman, who probably get checked out there, it looked like his nose was quite out of joint, so be interesting to see. We'll get that word for you in the post-game report, which will be up on the Vikings website on Monday or Tuesday. So keep an eye out for that. And we will wrap up here at Viking Park. Thank you very much, Brendan, for joining me this afternoon, straight after coaching your team. It wasn't easy, I know, after coming off a loss to come up here, but it was fantastic to have you with me. Oh, thanks, Kieran. I really enjoyed it, and look forward to next week. We talked about the Tuggeranong and Queanbeyan rivalry, but probably the greatest rivalry over here, our history is our rivalry with Royals, and they'll be here in full voice next week, and red versus blue in the second last round. So look forward to meeting up with you again next week and calling that Royals game. You can catch us here on the same link, and more information to come out during the week. Thanks again to all of Tuggeranong's sponsors who have made this happen today, and the Tuggeranong Club, and thank you for watching. See you next week.
Guys, switch it over.